Are we recording?
No.
I'm Sarah Scott, and this is week 16 of the weekly writing challenge. Last week's challenge asked you to write a story that made the reader laugh, think, and cry. There were a ton of amazing contributions this week. I found so many that made me laugh, so many that were really thoughtful, a ton that made me cry. The first I wanted to talk about was The Widowed Father by Nicolau. He writes as a man addressing his late wife. This one hit me like a ton of bricks, and I actually did cry reading it. He writes,
"Remember when we found out we were having a baby girl and I passed out on the nurse dude? Panicking, I said, how are we going to deal with a teenage girl? You laughed and said it's going to be okay. Well, she's 15 now and she's learning to drive and dating. That old panic feeling has returned and I wish you were here now to tell me it's going to be okay." Next, I wanted to talk about Anhedonia by The Last Domino.
This one, humorous, thoughtful, sad, really beautiful interpretation of this week's challenge. He writes,
Anhedonia. Noun, a psychological state which inhibits the ability to derive pleasure from usually pleasurable activities. Such a pretty word for something that insidiously leads me, a person, to try and hyperventilate until he passes out from a panic attack. To flip the script on Shakespeare, a turd by any other name would still smell like shit.
The next I wanted to talk about was My Reality by Blushy76. This one, it started out as a playful social commentary and ended up somewhere entirely different. Very intense, very powerful. They write,
Reality shows have graced our airwaves. People tuning in nightly to watch the obese child screaming at her mother, or a naked man taking on challenges to win millions, or a washed-up celebrity looking for love in all the wrong places. In Iraq, on the other hand, my reality show was watching as POWs captured by Iranian forces are tied up to vehicles and torn to pieces. When I close my eyes, I still see those limbless torsos. And I wonder how our realities could differ so much when we live on the same planet.
The last I wanted to highlight was Last by 224 Square. This was a very sweet story about saying goodbye to a well-loved pet. She writes, I scratched that patch of fur between your ears when you finally closed your eyes, and a part of me felt silly, desperately wishing for one last something, anything, a sign that you were still around, that I could have one more normal moment with you before saying goodbye. Our dog is like our first baby. We love her to death, but she's getting older, so this one really hit home for me. Molly, come here, baby. Well, don't get old. Don't get any older. So now on to the challenge for week 16. For this week, write a story that incorporates 2 truths and 1 lie. And that's all I'm going to say. You can interpret that any way you like. Write something short, write something long, write something entirely fictitious, write something with a grain of truth in it. Write anything you want as long as it includes your interpretation of 2 truths and 1 lie. Make sure to have your contributions in by Monday, February 2nd. I really can't wait to see what direction you take this week's challenge. Good luck, good week, goodbye.